I'm Dr. Lancelot Pinto. I'm a consultant pulmonologist at the PD Hinduja Hospital in Mumbai. Our country is presently going through a second surge in COVID-19, and we are now realizing, like a lot of other countries across the world, that this is not a virus that goes away easily. A lot of us dropped our guards, a lot of us assumed that the worst was behind us, and we stopped using the precautions or taking the precautions that we took throughout the past year. And now we realize, as a consequence of that we are facing possibly the worst surge that we've faced so far. The principles to prevent corona remain the same, and they've remained the same throughout the pandemic. Frequent hand sanitizing, masking, distancing still remain the three strongest tools, and avoiding the three C's. So a closed space, a crowded space, and close contact with individuals. So these are the three C's that we need to avoid. I get a lot of questions related to vaccination in terms of which vaccine should I take, which is superior to what, is it really good to take a vaccine? My answer to that is fairly straightforward. I think you should take the vaccine that you have access to. The vaccine that's immediately available to you is the one that is going to protect you. The second comment that I hear a lot is about individuals who've received both the doses of vaccines and then have got infected. So then why should we take the vaccine? I think the one strong message that has consistently come from various vaccines across the world is that after taking the 2 doses of the vaccine, if you do get infected, it tends to be a milder course. The US just recently released its data, and individuals who had received both the doses of the vaccine, if they did get COVID, their probability of getting hospitalized was 5 in a million, and their possibility of dying from the disease was 1 in a million. That is the level of protection against severe disease and against death that the vaccine offers. So next time you hear somebody telling you a story of somebody who got infected, you need to ask them, okay, they did get infected, but was it severe? Did they get hospitalized? And you will realize that the stories of individuals who get hospitalized after receiving 2 doses of the vaccine are extremely, extremely rare, which should be a strong incentive for everyone to go ahead and get vaccinated. The next question I get asked is what about the plateau? We are having a surge right now. How long is the plateau likely to last? And I think a lot of that depends on us. If we let our guard down again, like we did the last year, there is no reason why we can't have a third wave. Countries have experienced third and fourth waves, and I think we need to be very cautious. Again, this does not mean that we cannot function as a society, but it means that we need to be cautious. We need to be cautious, especially about crowding, especially about opening up malls and restaurants, and we need to be cautious about those things and do it in a phased and sensible manner such that individuals are not exposed to large crowds at any given point of time. So the second strain that is believed to be driving most of the current surge appears to be a lot more infectious or a lot more contagious, which means that the probability of it spreading from one person to another is very high, which is why I think most of us doctors are seeing entire families get infected. Last year, it used to be 1 person in a family or 2 persons in a family getting infected. But this time around, I think it's entire families, entire workspaces, people who've attended a wedding together, half of the people at the wedding getting infected. And I think this is a reflection of the transmissibility of the virus, how well the virus gets transmitted from one person to another. This time around, individuals tend to have fevers for a longer period of time, tend to have a strong immune response, tend to be younger, possibly also because more number of people getting infected in a country which is young like India would mean that younger people get infected. So younger individuals mounting a stronger immune response, being sicker for a slightly long term, is what we are experiencing or what we are noticing as doctors on the ground. Now, is this strain more lethal or likely to cause more severe disease than the first time around? We're not too sure about that yet. But what tends to happen is that even if a very small fraction of individuals have severe disease, if the number of individuals getting diseased or the denominator is large enough, that will convert into large numbers of people actually falling sick enough to need hospitals, to need ICUs. And I think that's what we're experiencing across the country. The answer to that is that the virus is constantly mutating. So we do expect mutations to happen further. We expect newer strains to occur as time passes by. All of these need not necessarily be bad. Sometimes viruses mutate in a way that makes them less contagious or makes them less virulent or less lethal. We can anticipate more variants being seen in the future, and we'll just have to be one step ahead of the game. We'll have to make sure that we sequence enough, we look at these patterns well enough to recognize newer strains before they cause a problem. The conventional symptoms still remain fever. I think fever still remains the most common symptom. A little bit of a cold, a little bit of a cough, backache, diarrhea, loss of smell, loss of taste, headaches, generalized body ache, fatigue. These are all the different kinds of symptoms that we are seeing in the context of the virus. And there's no particular symptom that's necessarily worse than the other. So all of them in the initial phases look similar. What about treatment? So I notice a lot of people panic on the first day that they get infected. And I must tell you that it's very, very, very rare for anything bad to happen in the initial 4 or 5 days. So I think that's the time you need to kind of get the monitoring in place, get an oximeter, make sure your oxygen levels are monitored regularly. There is some evidence to suggest that an inhaler used early on might actually protect from the disease going from mild to severe. So speak to your doctor about using an inhaler. Absolutely do not use oral steroids. So tablets of steroids should be absolutely avoided in the first week of treatment or early on, especially if the oxygen levels are normal. If the oxygen levels start dropping, that is the time where steroids really work well, and it's possibly the only drug that has shown us a mortality benefit or a reduction in the number of people dying. But when used early on, they can actually cause harm. So make sure you are not prescribed oral steroids in the first week of treatment. Drugs like remdesivir, tocilizumab, plasma therapy really may not work at all. So you need to be a little cautious about thinking that they are these life-saving drugs that are going to make life and death difference. I see a lot of desperate pleas online asking for these drugs. But unfortunately, they may not really make a difference to mortality. Drugs such as favipiravir, drugs such as ivermectin, doxycycline, azithromycin, which seem to be used a lot in the community, really have no role in COVID-19. Me, along with a team of experts from across the world, led by Professor Madhukar Pai from McGill, have created a tip sheet for how to manage COVID best at home. And that's available on indiacovidsos.org. So that's indiacovidsos.org. It's available in multiple languages, and I suggest that you disseminate this as much as you want to make sure that evidence-based and sound medical practices are practiced while you're at home. Another useful tip while you're at home, if your oxygen levels are low and you aren't getting admitted yet, is to lie down on your belly. Just lying down flat on your belly helps improve the oxygen levels to a great extent. So I think we need to be sensible, calm, and do the best we can rather than panicking and making incorrect decisions, making errors of judgment sheerly out of panic. And I do hope all of us stay safe and get through this wave.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.